All on the ground. This edition of the West Essex program, no different.
Well, they're what you call a smash-face football team, you know. They're big, they're strong, they want to use their speed, their size. They have a very fine Delaware wing T offense. They like to run right at you. They'll trap inside. They're going to tell you what they're going to do, and then they're going to go ahead and do it.
We mentioned that Boonton is a young team. Individually, one of their youngsters on whom they are depending heavily is Jeremy Hawks.
Jeremy Hawks scored 4 times last time out. He is their hope, their hope for the future. He's not particularly big. He's only about 165. He's not particularly weighs 165, about 5'8", 5'9" maybe, but he's got excellent speed. He's a hard driving football player. If he's able to turn the corner from that halfback position or break through somehow from that fullback position, why, he could be gone and away.
And he is the leader on defense from the linebacker position. John Rotella says not only does he lead us in every category, he makes up some defensive categories each week. He's a quality performer, and keep an eye on number 32. For West Essex, one of the individuals to focus on, a man in the trenches, 3-year starter defensively, 2-year starter offensively, Matt Benaquista.
Well, Matt was a tackle last year, and this year their guards are so instrumental in running their offense. They do so much pulling, so much trapping, and obviously so much straight-ahead blocking that they felt that if Matt moved into the guard position offensively, he could do him more good, and that's where they got him. They got him at guard. He's a powerful guard. He's quick. He's fast. He traps well. He blocks well straight ahead. He's a man that's going to have to be reckoned with by Boonton.
And on the defensive side of things, he began preseason as a tackle, but Ron Anello recognized the fact that teams were running away from Benaquista, so moved him to the nose guard, and now you can't run away from the man in the middle. Matt Benaquista is someone to focus on. People may be wondering why the teams are not warming up behind us. That's because this field, with the heavy rains yesterday, the footing is going to be a bit of a problem today, Bill.
It may even be a factor, but it'll be a factor primarily for the option team. Unfortunately, Boonton likes to turn the corner, and it's going to be difficult going any place but straight ahead in the middle of the field today. The field's very soft.
The team's warming up on adjacent fields here at Travis Field, trying to keep this field in the best condition it can be. We are just moments away from the opening kickoff. We invite you to stay with us for this gridiron battle between the Boonton Bombers and the West Essex Knights. Bill and I will be back for that opening kickoff right after this.
With news from Capitol Hill, here's Lee Leventhal.
You don't get something for nothing, says Senator Frank Lautenberg. Lautenberg has introduced legislation that would prohibit lobbyists from doing what they do on a regular basis: shower legislators with meals at expensive restaurants, trips to exotic locales, and gifts of all kinds, like expensive ornaments or clocks.
Unfortunately, that beautiful little clock that's placed on the desk is ticking away more than time. It, in some ways, may be ticking away some integrity.
The bill, called the Congressional Ethics Reform Act, would prohibit members of Congress and their staffs from accepting gifts such as expensive items and tickets to sporting events and shows, meals which have often been taken at 4-star restaurants, and trips that have no legislative function. Lautenberg's message is clear. Lobbyists are using money to buy influence, and he wants that to stop. He's hoping his colleagues in Congress feel the same way. With news from Capitol Hill, I'm Lee Leventhal.
We're back at Travis Field. Matt Laughlin along with Bill Horry. A gray, overcast, cool day. Temperature expected to drop. Noon wears on. A lot of rain yesterday has left this field rather soft, and that will play havoc with this afternoon's contest between the homestanding Knights and the visitors from Boonton High School. As you see at the bottom of your screen, the Knights break the huddle around Ron Anello. They have won the toss. They have elected to receive to begin this afternoon's contest.
Theoretically, Matt, the soft field favors the bigger, the heavier, and the physically stronger team.
There's Ron Anello, 7th year at West Essex High School. He is speaking with Nicky Luciano. Luciano, a junior, will be starting at quarterback this afternoon. We'll let you know a little bit more about that situation once West Essex takes over and begins on offense. Mike DiGirolamo steps back in the center of the three-man deep to receive the kickoff for the Knights. Robert Stager, number 81, will do the kicking for the Bombers. The Bombers coming off a victory last week, 35-20 over Parsippany Hills, a game they trailed 13-0 before rallying for the victory. West Essex last week defeated Mount Olive by a score of 35-13, their second consecutive victory. The previous week they shut out Hanover Park by a score of 35-0. Stager approaches the ball, and we are underway. DiGirolamo from the 11-yard line. Leaps through the wedge and is brought down at the 30. Good field position for the Knights to begin. And let's check out that offensive line for the 3-3 Knights. Going left to right, Mike Cesare, Fred Barbarossa, Victor Rulis, Matt Benaquista, and Eric Lem. The backs and receivers for the Knights, Jaime Elhai, the left half back. The fullback is Brian Griffoul. Mike DiGirolamo, the right half, and the ends are Scott DiLorenzo and Eric Metallo. The quarterback, junior Nicky Luciano, 5'7", 155 pounds, making his first varsity start in place of senior Brian Mabey. Luciano rolling out, throws it incomplete, intended his pass for Peter Visco. Visco will see a lot of action, not listed on the starting lineup, but Visco in there for the first play. Defensively for the Boonton Bombers, they'll go with a 6-man front. They're going to try and stunt and do all sorts of crazy things to offset the size disadvantage. Keep an eye on Brian Melgard, the weak side end. He's a real fine one. The linebackers are Tom LaMotta and Jeremy Hawks. And we'll set the secondary for you in a moment as Elhai slips and falls. A short gain of a play. It'll be 3rd down and 9. The secondary, Andy Morris, Eric Bizak, and Rashawn Hayes for the Boonton Bombers.
That first play gave you a little, first running play gave you a little indication of what happens when you try to cut. It's a tough field to cut on.
Luciano starting a discipline situation, causing a couple of players not to start, not to play today, maybe one of them. And so Luciano under some pressure here as the ball is kept on the ground. This is DiGirolamo breaking some tackles, but then dragged down by Eric Bizak, the safety. Bizak, the senior, 6 foot, 175 pounder. And so a good job defensively on the first series. And forced to punt the West Essex Knights. And Mike Decker will step back to punt. And Rashawn Hayes will drop back as the lone man to receive the punt. 10 men on the line for the Bombers. Hayes standing at about his 40-yard line. And the sophomore handles it at the 36 and runs right in to 3 tacklers. But Boonton will have good field position as he's marked down at the 39-yard line. Offensively, for Boonton up front, Leo Lefebvre, Pablo Gonzalez, Steve Bruno, Tom LaMotta, and Todd Arnold, the offensive line. The backs and receivers, Russ Garrow, Jason Hawks will line up behind quarterback. Robert Stager, Andy Morris, and Brian Melgard are the receivers, and the quarterback is Eric Bizak. Bizak, the senior, has rushed for 632 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's passed for 2, and he hits Garrow coming out of the backfield for a first down. Garrow, not a big kid, 5'5", 145 pounder. He's a junior, but John Rotella, the head coach, says he's got lineman's mentality, likes to run over people, likes the contact. So a first down for Boonton, ball in West Essex territory. We'll set the defense for the Knights on the next play. One man in the backfield, twin receivers to the bottom of your screen. Bizak rolling out. He is the leading rusher. And Bizak gets to the corner, breaks tackles, loses his balance, regains it, cuts inside, and is brought down near the 20-yard line. But there is a flag on the play.
They look very good, don't they?
So far, the emotion of last week's victory carrying over today as Bizak picks up the first down. But let's check the penalty. And as has happened on a number of occasions this year, this young team shooting itself in the foot, holding is the call, and so that big gain will be brought back.
They certainly don't look like a 1-5 team. quarterback executed very well. Now, he was able to turn the corner. He's got good feet.
Aided perhaps by the fact that someone was holding on one of the blocks.
Well,
so the big gain is brought back. And so it'll be 1st and long for the Bombers. Foul marked from the infraction. It was downfield, and so it's 1st and 15. Twins now go to the left side. Jason Hawks, the lone setback behind Bizak. Bizak will try the left side and makes back about what they lost on the penalty. It'll be 2nd down and long. Let's check that defense for the West Essex Knights. Their loop end is Mike Charmoli, starting in place of Marlon Dungo, and Dungo has moved back to a monster back position. Brendan Johnston, Matt Benaquista, Eric Lem, Scott DiLorenzo, the rest of that front. The linebackers, a good duo, Mike Decker and Eric Metallo. And deep for West Essex, the monster back is Dungo, starting in place of Jeff Griffoul, who is sitting out due to being disciplined. Mike DiGirolamo, Jaime Elhai, and Peter Visco, the rest of that secondary. 2nd down and long. I formation look. First time we've seen this formation for the Bombers. And it's the fullback Hawks, and Hawks tries to go right side, but is brought down. Brendan Johnston with help from Scott DiLorenzo, bringing up a 3rd and long.
That defensive line for West Essex averages about 250, and they're strong. They're going to play heck trying to run right at them. What they did to start this ball game is a good way to go. With the field as slippery as it is, you know, the receiver always has the advantage. Defender doesn't know which way he's going to cut.
3rd down and long. Bizak to the air and overthrows his intended receiver, Jack Shafford. Shafford, a sophomore, 5'7", 145-pounder. So after getting a big first 2 plays, 1st down on the first play, and then the long run, the holding penalty sets them back, and the Bombers have to punt.
And the fact of the matter is, if Boonton wants to stay in this game, they've got to take advantage of every situation that they can. They can't let an opportunity like just what happened pass them by.
John Rotella, the 2nd-year head coach, looking on. Stager back to punt. DiGirolamo and Visco back to receive the punt. And it goes off the side of Stager's foot and takes a short West Essex bounce, and the Knights will have the ball at the 34-yard line. Their 2nd possession of the afternoon. We're just underway, 7:45 to play in the 1st quarter, and the junior, Nicky Luciano, makes his way back. Tough spot for a youngster. Ron Anello says he's got all the tools. He's a good runner. And when I spoke about him earlier in the week, he said, hey, he's a player, and he's going to be something next year. But next year has come a little early for the West Essex Knights.
If he's a player, and I'm sure Coach has got a lot of confidence in him, and otherwise he wouldn't be there.
Ryan Griffoul, the fullback, with his first carry, met on the play by Jeremy Hawks, the sophomore strong side linebacker. Hawks, 5'8", 160 pounds, the defensive leader for the Bombers. Griffoul, a junior, 5'7", 180 pounds, affectionately called the Tank.
He looks a little like a tank. I don't mean he's funny looking. I mean he's built close to the ground. He's only about 5'7". He's 200 pounds. He runs close to the ground, and he likes to run into people.
Typical fullback, the Norm Boulash type, and the Norm Boulash type has a 1st down up the gut. Andy Morris drags him down, but not before Griffoul picks up a 1st down. Griffoul came into the game, 70 carries, 414 yards, 3 touchdowns. Ron Anello says when he mentioned Norm Boulash as an example, Griffoul said, who?
Well, you know, they're playing against a 6-man front, 2 linebackers. They've got 8 people up front. If he gets through that 8-man perimeter, you know, there's room to run. Now here he goes again. Whoop, just tripped up just as he was getting started. But he won't stop. He won't stop. An arm tackle won't bring him down. You're going to have to meet him nose on, or you're going to have to get some help from your friends, because he won't stop churning those legs unless you hit him hard.
2nd down at about 4 following the 6-yard pickup for the junior fullback. The Knights driving the ball. 2nd possession of the afternoon for West Essex. Scoreless halfway through the 1st quarter. Elhai finds a hole, and Jaime Elhai looks to get outside. Andy Morris had an arm on him to slow him down. Then Morris got help from, among others, Eric Bizak, but a first down for West Essex. Elhai, the leading scorer on this team with 6 touchdowns on the year, had 269 yards on the ground coming into the game.
You know, just before he ran that time, I was about to say it's going to be tough to run that West Essex trapping offense because the guards aren't going to be able to pull and cut upfield, and they aren't going to be able to get out of the line. Now, they did it that time. I watched Benequisto that time. He got out very smart, made his trap block, and gave Jaime a lot of room to run.
Griffoul, the fullback, looks to get to the outside, breaks the tackle of Bizak and goes in. 29-yard touchdown run for Brian Griffoul, his 4th TD of the year, and the Knights have jumped out in front by a score of 6-0.
You know, he reached to get him around the waist, and what he did was he slipped off his shoulder pads that time. He's built so close to the ground. If you're going to hit him, you got to start low. You got to start hitting somewhere around the ankles, because you try to hit him upstairs. Why? He's big upstairs, you know, and he's broad upstairs.
And he's got that powerful leg drive, too. Decker on for the extra point try. Visco to hold.
He doesn't give you much of a target.
Decker 12 for 15 on extra point tries this year. And he makes it 13 for 16. And the extra point tapped on makes the score 7-0 with 5:39 to play in the first quarter. And Brian Griffoul, the workhorse on that drive, scoring from 29 yards out.
Well, when they run the fullback, they usually block head up, you know. They just blow people off the line, and that's what they're good at. I watched them practice, I guess it was Wednesday, and they were working on their traps and their fullback smashes, and they were very effective. Dave Montgomery, who takes responsibility for that line, does a good job, you know. He won't tolerate anything but perfection. And these kids really do it right. You know, they get to do it right. They're big and strong to begin with, and that's the heart of their team as I see it. Their offensive line and their defensive line.
It's always been a physical team under Ron Anello, and this year another physical addition for the Knights. Decker will kick off. Hawks, the man in the middle. That's Jason Hawks, the older of the two brothers. And he will backpedal to his 11. Spinning forward to the 29-yard line. And Boonton will take it over there for their second possession of the afternoon. That scoring drive for the Knights, capped by Griffoul's TD run. 5 plays, 66 yards. And the score 7-0.
And they did what they do best. They ran at him with the fullback. They trapped with the interior guards, let the halfback follow, and did a good job of moving the football.
Garrow split to the left side, Morris to the right. Bizak pulls the ball out from Hawks, but is brought down on the play by DiLorenzo. Eric Lem also in on the play. Lem 6'2", 245-pound junior. DiLorenzo 5'10", 170-pound junior. DiLorenzo plays the anchor end. That's a gentleman who has no pass responsibility, just run-oriented.
Stay there.
Moves to the tight end side, lining up opposite Brian Melgard, the fine tight end for the Bombers. Bizak looking to get his footing and runs right into DiLorenzo and Marlon Dungo.
They covered that option just the way it had to be covered. The tackle smashed out, took away the fullback. The end handled the quarterback, and the cornerback came up real quick and handled the pitch out. Man, everybody was covered, just no room to run. And it's tough, even if somebody had failed in any one of those blocking assignments, to turn upfield all of a sudden.
Jason Hawks lines up as a wingback. Garrow, the lone setback. Bizak wants to run, has some room. Garrow out there, throws a block on Dungo, and that was just enough to shield Dungo from making the tackle, and it looks like Bizak has picked up the first down.
He is a good runner. He's a senior. He handles the ball well. You know, he has the option on all of those option plays to make the call. He can or cannot pitch it back depending on what he sees. Now that time, he had nobody in the backfield. I have to believe that was a predetermined run. There's nobody to pitch out to that time.
First down for the Bombers. Second pass for Bizak, and he hooks up complete with Jack Shafford. Shafford drilled as soon as he caught it, but a pickup of 7 on the play.
Nice curl-in route. That's what they need to do. They need to maintain possession of the football. They can't turn the ball over too quickly to that West Essex offense. They're too strong for it. They're too physical for it.
Shafford replaced, Bill, by Stager, who goes split to the left. Now Melgard moves in motion, switches to the right. And Garrow, the tailback, gets a first down inside West Essex territory to the 46-yard line. Well, you know why they moved Melgard. Melgard's a fine blocking tight end. Last year was the leading receiver on the team, but teams have, off of last year's performance, tried to prevent it from being duplicated, so his numbers in receiving are down, but he's a good blocker and helps them get outside, and once he came to the right, you had a feeling that's the way the play was going to develop.
Well, when you don't have too many people, that's what you need to do, you know. You got to set up the plays to use your personnel the best way you can.
Melgard, 6'3", 165 pounds, a senior.
Now we're looking at a wishbone for the first time, the full bone.
And the first time that we see Jeremy Hawks in the backfield. Hawks had a man in his face, Eric Lem, and that caused disruption on the play and a loss of 1 on the play. 2 questions here, Bill. How difficult is it for a team like West Essex now to face multiple looks offensively? We've seen wishbone, eye look, lone setback, trips to one side. That's one part of the equation. The other half, how is it possible for a team to operate that offense with so many looks effectively?
Well, I'll tell you right after this play, okay?
Fair enough. Second down and long. I formation look to the air again, and it is complete to Andy Morris. Andy Morris, the leading receiver on the team, 2 touchdown passes he has caught this year.
To answer the first part of your question, Matt, West Essex has worked against all of these offensive sets all week long. They've been drilled. They've looked at everything that this team has to offer, that Boonton has to offer. That's the first part of your question. The second part of your question is, you start with good athletes and you work offensively a whole lot of times.
Important third down situation here, 3rd and 3, a minute 26 left in the first quarter. Jeremy Hawks lunging forward, will be close. Hawks 5'8", 160 pounds, a sophomore, 4 touchdowns last week in the win against Parsippany Hills. Overall on the season, 6 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversion runs. He is the leading scorer for the Bombers, and we will have a measurement. That gives us time to identify for you the officials this afternoon. Bucky Rittenauer is the referee. The umpire is Bob Vetrano. The linesman, Howard Hauk. The back judge, Jay Baumgartner. And the line judge is Ballard Graham. And there you see them identified. And he is just short. Can't tell, that's the side of the measurement we were hoping to see. But he is just short by about an inch or 2. So it's 4th and short. And without question, John Rattell is going to go for it here.
You know, John would like to get in a particular offense and just run those plays and just knock your head off if it were a running offense, or throw the heck out of the ball if they were pass-oriented. But he just doesn't have that talent at this particular point. And so he's trying to mix things up a little bit, use the best plays he can from whatever offense he has.
They're going to throw the ball on 4th down, and there are flags all over the place. In fact, a couple of people in the stands were looking for some yellow cloth to throw. I think every official had it. Yeah. It's going to be pass interference. Stager, the intended receiver, and a bit of a surprise there, Bill, on 4th and short, going to the air.
Yeah, I guess what he was looking for, and I'm getting a lot of respect for that coach. He he wanted to score that time. You know, if he breaks that slant on that against that one-on-one coverage, that boy could be gone and away. And he'll gamble, give up field position if he had to for the quick 6 points. As it so happened, you know, he got the first down, and it was obviously he was bumped, and maybe it was a good thing for West Essex he was bumped, because if he catches that ball, the scoreboard might have changed.
15-yard penalty, automatic first down, 1st and 10. Ball at the 22-yard line. Jeremy Hawk slipping a little bit and is wrapped up and brought down on the play.
Now there we saw the I formation. So we've seen the I, we've seen the single back formation, we've seen the full bone. What we haven't seen yet, and I'll call your attention to it when we do see it, is the unbalanced bone. And I think we'll see that a little later on. He's trying to make that defense make a mistake, even though they've drilled against us these various sets. They haven't seen them regularly. And if they make a mistake, maybe Boonton can take advantage of that mistake.
10th play of the drive, probably the last play of the first quarter, going for it all, and it is picked off. In the end zone, Anthony Griffoul making the interception, a 5'8", 135-pound junior. And so a solid drive by the Bombers goes for naught as Griffoul steps in front of the underthrown ball and picks it off.
It would have had to have been perfect to be even remotely caught, you know. The defender had a great position. He had great position on the ball, and he did it. And I guess that's the end of the first period.
That is the final play of the first quarter. And so a fast-moving first quarter has come to an end. The score after one, West Essex 7, Boonton nothing. We'll be back right after this.
In 1989, which animal was classified as an endangered species in an effort to halt poaching by ivory hunters? That is, Lauren.
To find out the answer to that and dozens of other questions, watch as Scotch Plains takes on Mount St. Dominic Academy on Challenge, Monday evening, November 1st at 6 p.m. and Sunday afternoon, November 7th at 1 p.m. If it's local issues that you want, we've got them live. If it's controversy that you seek, you'll see it live. If it's investigation and intrigue that you're looking for, you'll get it live. For a hard-hitting, fact-finding look at today's hottest issues, the buck stops here. Tune in Thursdays at 7 p.m. and get what you're asking for live. Only on Local Issues Live. Only on Suburban Cablevision TV3.
Welcome back to Travis Field. Matt Lachlan along with Bill Horry. First play of the second quarter, and it's Griffoul who scored the first touchdown, the only touchdown of this ball game thus far, picking up a first down across the 30-yard line.
Griffoul doesn't look to get out of the way of anyone on that defensive team. I think he kind of prefers looking for people.
Among the fans here, the freshman team at West Essex, winners this morning. They are now 4-2-1, they tell us. And,
they tell us that they should have been undefeated. They should have been. They could have been, but they aren't. They lost 2 games.
We look at statistics through the first quarter, and Boonton able to move the ball, which has got to concern Ron Anello a little bit. The turnover, the interception, negating a drive. And it is Griffoul again. Griffoul for a big gain of 6 yards.
When Griffoul carries the ball 90% of the time, he's running with straight ahead blocking, and those big linemen, Mike Cecere, Fred Barbosa, Victor Rulis, Matt Benequista, and Eric Lem, they're just blowing people off the line. When you see the halfbacks carrying the ball, then quickly turn your eyes to the guards that are pulling, and you'll find out the trap that's taking place.
Luciano on the keeper has a first down up to the 45-yard line. Well, that offensive line, no one is less than 200 pounds. And the smallest in terms of size is Rulis, the center, at 5'11". And they're going up against an undersized defensive line. No one over 200 pounds. Melgard 6'3".
And Nicky had to see that with the six-man front that they were in, there was no one over the center. So however he called the play, he just kept the ball on a center sneak, gained 5 yards.
The tank for another carry. I guess an Army tank would get about 4 miles to a gallon. I'm not sure when this tank runs out of gas, but he has been the workhorse thus far. 7 carries, 65 yards, and the 29-yard touchdown run. West Essex leading 7-0. We've played just about 2 minutes in the second quarter.
And he's going 7 miles a gallon, or 7 yards a trot. Here's your trap.
Elhai coming around to the right side, into the backfield. Jaime Elhai will go in. A 49-yard touchdown run for Elhai, his 7th touchdown of the year, and the Knights have moved out to a 13-0 lead.
And there's no question that Elhai is an intelligent runner. You watch him follow those pulling guards. He doesn't make his move upfield until those guards, they make their block, and then watch him turn it on. Now here he is, track block on the line. He finds room. There goes 75 making his block. Makes a good block. Number 75, Fred Barbosa, made a good block downfield and sprung Elhai for the TD.
Last week, Barbosa was named Special Teams Player of the Week, but springing Elhai for that big run for the score may come up with Offensive Lineman Performer of the Week honors here. Decker now 2 for 2 on the extra point tries, and it's 14-0.
Matt, what's a fella 6 feet, 225 pounds, downfield, throwing a block on a halfback, 30 yards past the line of scrimmage?
There's a guy who wants it.
Right. A lot of desire. Not only a lot of desire, a lot of good coaching. Somebody all week long was on his back. Come on, Mike, get downfield. Get down, Fred, I'm sorry. Get down, Fred, get downfield. Come on, throw your body around downfield. And this is a payoff.
He, too, has a nickname, The Cheese.
Is that right?
Yes. John Rotella talking to the coaches upstairs. Quite simple. Once you get through the 8 men at the line of scrimmage, the numbers don't help you in the secondary.
Right.
And on both of the scores, Griffoul and then Elhai able to get into the secondary. And again, the numbers favoring West Essex at that point. Don't forget that last week, Boonton came back from a 13-0 deficit to rally for the victory. That over Parsippany Hills. West Essex a better team than Parsippany Hills, but still they have that comeback ability. Here's Decker to kick off. And the ball goes to Hawks. Jason Hawks from his 12-yard line. And Barbosa leading the charge downfield. Missed Hawks, but certainly enough to disrupt things. Hawks brings the ball to the 28-yard line, and that's where the Bombers will have it. 9:47 remaining in the second quarter, a 5-play, 80-yard drive. Elhai with the long run of 49 yards for Jaime Elhai, and it's 14-0.
You have to know that the right guard for Boonton, Tom LaMotta, is 5'6", 145 pounds. His counterpart on the left side is 5'6", 140 pounds.
Bizak cuts it inside. Eric Bizak has good speed. Elhai tries to get him on an angle, is able to knock him off balance and finally knock him out of bounds inside the 30-yard line. Bizak, the fastest runner on this team, has legitimate 4.5 speed.
He leads the team in rushing, the quarterback does. Says a little bit about the kind of speed that he has. Also says a little bit about the speed that Elhai has to get him from behind, at least stop him up and get him out of bounds from behind. Option play, they had the pitch out man, but whoever was assigned to the quarterback, and every time they run that option, there's someone assigned to the quarterback. Whoever had that quarterback, let him turn upfield.
43 yards on the pickup for Bizak. 1st and 10 for the Bombers. Bizak wants to throw. Good coverage by the secondary, and is drilled on the far sideline. Benaquista
I only noticed 2 receivers on that play, and I can understand that. I think that's smart because that way they save Eric. They keep enough people back to protect him. Let him make his decision. Once again, if one of those receivers loses a defender, okay, you'll throw the ball.
Benaquista had help on the play from Mike Charmoli. Loss on the play, 2nd down and 11. Off the loose ball, Jason Hawks falls on it, but a loss of a few more, and it'll be 3rd and long.
What happens there is the ball gets a little spot of mud on it. Quarterback brings it up, and the mud hits the center brings the ball up, and the mud hits the quarterback's hands and drops off. That's what happens a good deal of the time on a day like today with the field like it is. They're going to have to keep that ball clean if they're going to avoid a lot of those exchange fumbles.
Leo Lefebvre, the left tackle, has stepped out of the ballgame for a moment, replaced by Carl Tisdale for the Bombers. 3rd and long. Bizak, late pitch to Garrow. A lot of black jerseys in front of Garrow, and he is wrapped up by Peter Visco.
Peter Visco is a good defender, you know. He's where he should be, and he was where he should be on that particular play. The option took a little too long to develop. He's got to either break up field or pitch out a lot earlier than he did. Of course, I think the ground, the fact that he was slipping around a little bit had a lot to do with it.
Visco, one of 4 captains on the team. Fred Barbarossa, Jaime Elhai, Matt Benaquista, the elected captains along with Visco. Charmoli named a game captain today. 4th down and 12, and Bizak wants to talk it over. And it looks like they were short a player. I only count 10 out there. And so Bizak, seeing that they were short a player and didn't want to risk another 5 yards, so he decided to call timeout. 7:17 left to play in this first half. West Essex on top by a score of 14-0. Next week on TV3, we have a watch on conference matchup for you. The Linden Tigers will travel to Gary Kaler Field in Westfield to take on the Blue Devils. Last Saturday, the field was named in honor of the great coach of the Blue Devils. And so Kaler Field, the site of next Saturday's matchup between Linden and Westfield. You'll be able to watch it the 13th at 10:30 p.m. On Sunday, the 14th at 7:30 in the evening. And once again, Thursday, the 18th at 2 o'clock.
Ball is on the 31-yard line. He's going to need 11 yards to get that first down. West Essex knows that too, and that's what's going to make it more difficult.
Here we go, Brendan!
They had 2 wide receivers to the right. Pro set in the backfield, double twins.
Bizak firing complete, and a first down for the Bombers.
Great throw.
Andy Morris, the receiver, and a first down.
Very good route and a very good throw. Imagine if they were able to throw the ball that well on a passing situation. Why shouldn't they be able to do that more on running situations?
Morris comes out of the game, replaced by Robert Stager. Now Stager steps out, and we'll check out the alignment.
Boonton gets in on this series of downs, and we're going to have a ball game.
Jack Shafford, the lone receiver, Melgard, the tight end, moves to the right side. Wishbone look. Up the gut, ball goes to Jason Hawks, and he churns it forward to the 10-yard line, driven back by the interior part of that defensive line.
That's a tough place to make a living, and Brendan Johnson, he was the first to let him know that was a fact.
Johnston, the left tackle, 6'3", 215-pound junior. It's been a pleasant surprise this year for Ron Anello. You need a couple of guys like that every year, Bill, to be successful. A player who develops, works hard, comes out, gives you more than you thought he was going to based on the performance the previous year. You have a little delay here as a fresh, cleaned-off football will be brought in.
One of the problems that West Essex happens to be a very nice problem. The people here are used to winning. The coach has developed a very sound program. The football team is has been winners for quite a few years now, and people expect them to win. That makes it a little difficult, you know. You lose 1 or 2 games, and they want to know why.
Bizak 4 for 6 in throwing, will keep it on the ground. Gets inside the 10-yard line, but wrapped up by Mike Decker. Decker, the leading tackler on the team, entering the game with 46 tackles. He also has 4 sacks to his credit. Decker, a senior linebacker.
I'm sorry. Once again, Eric looked back. His pitch-out man was covered. He had a guy right up on his nose. If he pitches a ball wide, he's going to lose yards. Elected wisely to keep the ball and cut upfield, and there's no room to run.
75 yards on the ground this afternoon for the senior quarterback. 3rd down. They can pick up a 1st down without scoring a touchdown. The ball at the 9-yard line.
Wishbone, full wishbone.
And it is Jeremy Hawks, and Matt Benaquista says, don't come my way. Benaquista, the 6'2", 225-pound senior nose guard. John Rotella says he's the best nose guard in the conference.
Now, if they combine the weight of the guards, either one of the guards, and the center, probably just about equal Benaquista. He's a strong boy. He's physically strong. He's not only big, he's strong, he's mobile, and they tell me occasionally on the football team he gets hostile.
Stager on for a field goal try. John Kovalarczyk will put it down at the 17-yard line, and it is pushed off to the right. So again, Boonton able to move the ball, but Bill unable to score any points, and at a certain point that's going to get rather frustrating for this young team. Stager upset that he was unable to put 3 points on the board for Boonton.
Well, they came a long way, you know, without making any mistakes. They started this series way back someplace on the 20-yard line, or even back further than that. They moved it all the way up to about the 13-yard line, and that's where they tried the field goal. Well, it's rare that you go that far without making a mistake, especially a young team.
The Knights take over, and Griffoul, the fullback, goes right up the gut. Brian Griffoul, 80 yards for a touchdown.
Almost.
Oh no, Bizak drags him down from behind. Bizak pulls him down at the 5-yard line. I never saw number 12. Would have never thought that Bizak was going to catch up to him. He's got great speed, but Bizak is able to drag Griffoul down, and so erase the 80-yard score, make it a 75-yard pickup.
Now there he goes. He's chugging along just as fast as he can, and he's going pretty good speed, pretty good clip. Now look at the speed that catches up to him. Good speed. Good speed. That's a little bit of an indication of the kind of speed that Eric has. Also, a big indication of the desire that Bizak.
I mean, he was not
just as well.
He was not on the screen. There wasn't a white jersey around Griffoul, and Bizak drags him down at the 5-yard line. 140 yards this afternoon for Griffoul, and it's 1st and goal from the 5, and that's disheartening for the Bombers. I talked about being disappointed at coming away with no points, and you put your head down for a moment, and the next thing you know, somebody's rambling 75 yards.
Now this isn't really the nature of the West Essex team, and they prefer it this way. They most certainly would like to get the big yardage plays, but generally it's been my experience to watch them go 6, 7, 5, 4, 7, 6, you know, those kind of yardages, and eat up the clock and eat up the ground. Now they're getting the big breakaway, and I think it has to do with the fact that Boonton is playing that 8-man front, and once they get by that perimeter, why, you know, it's tough to catch it.
214 yards on the ground for Ronanello's club on 14 plays. Griffoul with 140 yards. That's his 2nd highest total of the year. He adds to it as he gets down to the goal line. Griffoul's previous high this year 2 games ago against Hanover Park when he rushed for 148 yards and a touchdown. He has scored, with his touchdown this afternoon, 4 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks, and it wouldn't be surprising to give it to the tank one more time. You have to try to reward him.
Don't you think
for the
he deserves
75 yards? 4-minute warning given here. Brief time taken as the sidelines are apprised of the fact that 4 minutes are left in the first half. There was movement on the left side of the line.
That's the worst possible time to do that. And I could just see those kids on Monday looking at the films, and hearing the coach. And, Ron only uses good language, I know, but I'm sure it'll be strong language.
Well, it will be brought back 5 yards.
I could just hear every word he says, How do you make that kind of a mistake? You work all the way down there to the goal line and you give up 5 yards? You just don't do it.
Luciano takes it himself in for the touchdown.
I lost the ball that time. I'd like to see that again if we can. I didn't expect an option of any kind. I guess that's what they must have run. At least they faked the fullback.
Faked the dive to Griffoul, and the junior pulled it out and scores his first varsity touchdown.
He had no idea pitching that ball out. He had no idea. Nicky didn't want to pull that ball out, and I don't blame him. You don't take a chance of flipping the ball down there on the goal line. It was a good choice. And for a junior quarterback, he's doing. He's gotten his feet wet, so to speak, and he's out and swimming now. He's doing a good job.
Decker on for the extra point try, his third attempt of the afternoon. And he is now 3 for 3 today as West Essex moves out to a 21-0 lead with 3:39 remaining in the first half.
And all of the key plays have been long runs. They haven't been chewing away at the clock as I expected. They hadn't had to. I get a kick out of some coaches when they say, well, what we have to do is we have to control the football. Well, controlling the football isn't important. Boonton controlled the football all the way from their 20 to West Essex 7, and then they gave it up. The important thing is to score every chance you have.
3 plays, 80 yards, 75 of those by the fullback, Brian Griffoul. Luciano scoring on a 6-yard run, and it's 21-0.
Total yardage must be great. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure our statistician has that information.
Bill Bromberg busy working the abacus.
224 yards.
It's amazing how he works that machine.
He is an amazing person.
In more ways than one.
Nah, he's just a great guy.
Decker will kick off. Hawks back to receive it. Goes right through the 5-hole. Hawks trying to dance his way free and is brought down at the 5-yard line.
That is not a good place to start against a big, strong, tenacious West Essex defense.
There's a little bit of communication. He and Garrow talking to each other, and now a little finger pointing going on.
Yeah.
Garrow stepped back a little bit. Perhaps Hawks thought he was going to take it.
With a young team, there's so many things that you need to dwell on, so many things you just can't touch everything. I kind of feel that Boonton is going to be a decent team in a year or two.
Well, their sub-varsity's doing well. Freshman 5-2, the JV undefeated and unscored on, but struggling a little bit here. To the air, Morris, the intended receiver, a little bit behind him and incomplete.
I spoke to Ron, and I was impressed with what he had to say. He's a positive-minded person. He kind of feels like it's going to take a little time. He idolizes the kids that play for him. He's very loyal. Thinks he's got the greatest kids that ever lived. He loves his kids. That's going to pay off.
Second
loyalty
down
will be returned.
And 10. Jeremy Hawks picks up 2. Hawks has been bottled up. The 5'8", 160-pound sophomore. Mike Decker in on the stop. Unofficially, 2:57 left to play. Our good friend Hugh Albanesius operating the clock today.
Certainly have the first team working today, haven't we?
Without question. A look at the rushing statistics team-wise. Big afternoon thus far for West Essex. Third down. Try a little counter play, and Jeremy Hawks brought down. No gain on the play, so a difficult situation here. The Bombers trailing 21-0, and they're going to have to punt from their end zone. 2:16 and counting to play.
Well, they've got enough room to punt the ball, but most certainly, unless something strange happens, West Essex is going to be in good scoring position.
Yep.
With all of their timeouts left. Plenty of time.
Stager back, waiting for the snap. Elhai, or check that, Visco, excuse me, slipping and falling at the 33-yard line, but good field position for West Essex. 1:45 showing on the clock, and the Knights leading by a score of 21-0. At halftime, we'll be entertained by the West Essex Knights marching band. At least we believe we will be. They are scheduled to perform, but with the field very wet and slippery, they may not come onto the field.
They're going to get muddy shoes, for one thing.
First and 10.
This could be a put away touchdown now. They go up with 7 more points, and they've got a good hold on this football game.
Elhai comes in motion and has it, and gets inside the 30-yard line. Jeremy Hawks on the stop. Clock continues to run. Ronanello not looking to stop the clock here.
You know,
Comfortable leading 21-0.
I saw this Boonton team play its first game. They lost 40-0, you know, but with 2 minutes to go, they were still fighting. I give them a lot of credit. They're not quitters.
That was a game against West Morris. Griffoul, the fullback, close to a first down. That last effort may have given him the necessary yardage.
Griffoul, you know, is a punishing runner. He's going to punish those inside linebackers. Tom LaMotta, one inside linebacker, is 5'6", 145, and Jeremy Hawks, as we indicated, is 5'8", 160. Griffoul's 180, and he's a punishing runner. He looks for people to hit.
Here's Elhai getting a block from Griffoul, stepping inside a tackler and stepping into the end zone. A 24-yard touchdown run for Jaime Elhai, his second of the ball game, and it's now 27-0.
Now, Jaime's got a talent that a lot of running backs would love to have. He sees the whole field, you know. He's got the ball. He sees his blockers. He sees the defenders set up. He sees the whole field, and subsequently, he's in a position to take advantage of any help that he gets downfield, and that West Essex line is quick to get downfield and help him out.
Elhai's second TD of the day.
Smart runner.
8th on the season. Decker on. Visco pulls down the high snap. And Decker now 4 for 4. And with 17 seconds showing on the clock in the first half, the Knights leading 28-0. Elhai 5 carries, 95 yards, and the 2 touchdowns. He and Griffoul have been the 2-man wrecking crew. And the Knights lead comfortably, looking to make it 3 in a row.
And you look at the Boonton side, John Rotella, he's got about 11 people out on the field, and I don't think he's got more than 11 on the sideline.
Yeah, the numbers are down for Boonton as they are in a rebuilding effort. We look at Coach Rotella, previous to coming to Boonton, and he is in his second year. He had spent 5 years at JFK High School in Patterson as their defensive coordinator. In that span, they made 3 appearances in the state playoffs, won a state championship one year.
John's doing a good job. I like his offense, and I like what he's doing on defense. You know, he's struggling to be sure, but he's outmanned. That's his problem. The other people are bigger and stronger, and they got more of them. And he's doing what he can. He's hanging in there as tough as he can. It's not an easy thing to do.
Hawks gets the good bounce and brings it out across the 25-yard line. Short scoring drive this time as Hawks gets up, shaken up. 3 plays, 33 yards. Elhai with the run, 28-0 the score.
Now, if Boonton makes a mistake here, well, no, they're not. They're going to just run out the clock. 2 seconds to go. That's the wise thing to do.
And the first half comes to an end. So the Bombers played well for the first quarter. They were able to move the ball, but unable to score. West Essex opening it up, though, in the second quarter. 3 touchdowns in the second stanza. And the Knights go into the halftime with a comfortable lead. 28-0 our score from Travis Field. We're going to take a short break. We'll come back with more. Stay with us.
Time In was a great show, very informative to the students and players in the area. Bob Lee started it, I believe, and then Bruce Beck, who went on to Channel 2, and Paul Spahala and Matt Lachlan have carried on a great tradition for Time In, and if it comes back, I'm really looking forward to it.
Tune in to Time In live Mondays at 7:30 p.m. with a repeat cable cast Saturdays at 12 noon, only on Suburban Cablevision TV 3.
Choices! You gotta make choices. Hey kid, you wanna fly? You gotta buy. Come on kid, let me hook you up.
Exercise the right choice.
Visit your local park and recreation department today.
$28-0 our score at halftime. West Essex on top. 3 second quarter touchdowns boosting them to that lead. They've had a big ground attack, and they have been able to get through into the secondary of the Boonton Bombers pretty much at will. The marching band has been grounded due to the wet turf and trying to keep it in as good a shape as possible, so they've been asked to stay off the field here at halftime, but they are performing for the hometown fans and doing a fine job.
The last time they went out in weather like this, you know, they lost 2 trombone players and a drummer, so they're playing it smart now. They're staying off the field.
And the fans enjoying the performance here at Travis Field. Let's take a look at first half statistics. I mentioned the fact that they favored the West Essex Knights, 259 yards on the ground. Boonton has been able to move the ball, but they've had a tendency to hurt themselves, either by a turnover, that one turnover critical, an interception that halted a drive.
Well, pretty much, the statistics pretty much tell the story. You know, when you get 259 yards, you're supposed to be 4 touchdowns up. Boonton has 89 yards, but they got those 89 yards in the middle of the field, you know.
And when you have 259 yards rushing, but only 8 first downs, you know you're getting a lot of yards on the ground. You're ripping off huge chunks of property, and that has been the case today. Brian Griffoul, the leading rusher for the West Essex Knights, has a touchdown, opened up the scoring in the first quarter. And I thought on this play, Bill was going to go all the way, goes from the 20, and I thought he was gone.
Look at him chug, will you, boy? He's going north and south as fast as he can. Those little legs are pumping, and here comes this Bissack with so much speed, catches him from behind. If he isn't on the track team, that Bissek fellow, he's making a mistake.
Bizak bringing Griffoul down, but a few plays later, Nicky Luciano scored from 6 yards out. Jaime Elhai with 2 second-quarter touchdowns. And West Essex leads by a score of 28-0 as the West Essex band continues to perform here at Travis Field. We're going to take a short break. We'll come back with second half action. The Bombers trailing. They came from behind last week. They'll have to do it again as they trail big time here at halftime. We'll be back right after this.
It gives them new zest of life.
For 40 years, youth has been preserved by an organization known as SAGE. SAGE provides an array of services to support the aging with companionship and dignity. From Meals on Wheels and adult daycare to transportation and home health aides, SAGE is always there for the elderly of Morris, Essex, and Union counties. To learn more, call SAGE at 908-273-5550.
And we're back at Travis Field. Matt Loughlin along with Bill Horry, and we are preparing for the start of the second half. And the challenge to that team is to overcome a 28-0 deficit. They may not be able to do it in all likelihood, but then the challenge is to give a solid effort in the third and fourth quarters and walk off feeling good about themselves. And Bill, as you said, you saw their first game against West Morris when they lost 40-0, but late in the game they were working hard, and that's a credit to the Bombers and to the staff.
Right. You can have fun. You can know that you're outmanned, and you can still, if you like to play football, you can lose and have fun. And of course, it's a lot more fun when you win, but it's fun going tackling and blocking and doing the things you like to do.
The gentleman facing you and speaking to some of the fans who are lined around the field, that's Tom Penjator, the athletic director here at West Essex High School. And Tom was inducted recently into the West Essex Hall of Fame. Prior to being the athletic director, was the athletic trainer here at the school. And on October 22nd of this year, the school had its third annual Hall of Fame dinner. 8 athletes were inducted. Tom also inducted, and they honored the 1980 state championship team. They won the Group 4 title that year. And congratulations to Penge and all the honorees and inductees that evening.
Tom happens to be one of the finest gentlemen in high school athletics today. He is responsible to a large degree, to the largest degree, for the excellent reputation that West Essex High School now must be very proud of. He is the hardest working young man that I've seen direct an athletic program in the state of New Jersey.
And our gracious host, and we thank him, and again we congratulate him. The folks here at West Essex, there are a lot of good ones. It's a very solid program, both academically and athletically, and we're always happy to come up here. Joe Garvey, our good friend, the principal of the school, and it's always fun to come up here.
Not an easy job, and a job that in many cases, in most cases, is not appreciated. But Tom happens to do an excellent job.
Mike Decker will kick off for West Essex. Jason Hawks back deep. We're going to try and keep an eye on number 75 here for West Essex. Fred Barbarossa, there he is. Invariably, he leads the charge downfield. Barbarossa last week named the Special Teams Player of the Week. And it's a short kick to start things off.
He's certainly fearless, isn't he?
He likes to get down there, likes to break up the wedge. Garrow returns the kick to the 34-yard line. Barbarossa, 6 foot, 225-pound senior. We're going to take a look at him charging down the field. Bill, what makes a good special teams player?
Well, I can tell you, and I don't mean to be insulting by any means, but they say to be a real good special teams player, you got to be a little nutsy, you know.
Bouncing off a couple of blockers and in on the stop.
You got to like contact. That's what it amounts to. You got to like hitting people and possibly getting.
Bizak looking to pitch to Garrow is brought down on the play by Brendan Johnston, the 6'3", 215-pound junior. Help on the play provided by Eric Lem.
Oh, what he should have done, and it's too late, you know. Everybody's got the woulda, shoulda, gouldas. He should have handled off to his fullback.
That interception on the second drive, they moved the ball well, the Bombers. 10 plays, threw an interception into the end zone that killed the drive. That has come back to haunt them a little bit. Took away some momentum. But on the very next drive, they were able to go 8 plays, wound up missing a field goal. So they've had some chances. Bizak drilled on the far side, gets back to the original line of scrimmage.
Mike made a good stick there because, you know, if Eric turns upfield, he's dangerous.
Charmoli,
I don't believe there's anybody on the field can catch him.
Charmoli playing what they call their loop end. Doesn't go into a stance. He stands up, has some pass and run responsibilities. 6 foot, 165-pounder.
He's like the old-fashioned quarterback.
Bizak breaks a couple of tackles, and Mike Decker drags him down as he gets across the 40-yard line, short of the first down, and Bizak appears to be shaken up on the play, holding his right leg, looking more toward holding the right knee, and Bizak down on the far side, rolls over, and appears to be at least in a little better shape than he was, grasping that right knee the first time quite dramatically.
I can tell John Rotella exactly what he needs to make that team go. What he needs is about 2 or 3 more Bizaks. I think he'd settle for 1 more Bizak.
Yeah, it would help the team immensely.
Sure.
That's Bill Battershaw, the West Essex trainer, tending to Bizak on the far sideline. Stager, Robert Stager to punt. 2 men back to receive the punt for the Knights. Visco and DiGirolamo, and a good punt drives DiGirolamo back inside the 20. Flag thrown on the play as DiGirolamo dances his way to the 35-yard line, but let's check out the flag. Invariably, it's an illegal block of some sort.
And this is going to come all the way back.
It generally does.
Yep.
And it is a clip, the indication from Bucky Rittenauer, our referee.
And you can't be too critical. Your team clips on runbacks like that. You can't be too critical because, you know, it means that somebody threw a block. Maybe he was a little too high. Maybe his head wasn't in the right place. But the intent was good, you know. He wanted to help his buddy out. He wanted to throw a good block that'd spring him. So, you know, you warn them against it. You tell them not to do it. But when they do it, you kind of say, well, you know, at least he was trying.
Bizak remains down on the far sideline, and he has been replaced defensively by John Kobalarczyk. Kobalarczyk now playing safety with the penalty. The ball pins West Essex deep in their own territory, just outside the 10.
And West Essex, unless I miss my guess, is just going to pound away at him now.
Brian Griffoul doing it that time, bringing the ball to the 15-yard line. Their drives today, well, very successful and very short. Punted after 3 and out on their first possession, but since then 4 touchdowns, 3 in the second quarter. Average yards per play, 13.6.
That's a good average, isn't it?
That's winning football.
Standard wing T defense. They give it to the fullback. That time he gets cut down.
Jeremy Hawks cutting Griffoul down as Doc Battershaw continues to look at Bizak, and Bizak jumps. Looks like a little pain, concern on the face of Coach John Rotella.
Jeremy's a good defensive player. He's a good hitter inside. He finds a football, especially when you cover all those offensive linemen. They can't get out to him.
3rd down and short for the Knights.
He's small, but he's quick, and he hits good.
4 minutes gone by in the third quarter. DiGirolamo coming around, taking the handoff, stopped short of a first down, brought down at the 20-yard line. Hawks again in on the stop. And it's a punting situation. Decker will come on to punt. Just the second punt of the afternoon for Decker. It's 4th and about 2. With Bizak still hurt, we're going to see Kobalarczyk in at quarterback for the Knights. And so we will see a youngster, Kobalarczyk, just a sophomore, in at quarterback for Boonton.
I don't know why the timeout.
The official took a timeout to adjust a piece of equipment on a Boonton player. Rashawn Hayes back to receive the punt. Line drive punt that takes a good roll for the Knights inside Boonton territory. And there by Charmoli at the 43-yard line.
Well, you know, that's not a bad thing to happen, because when this team meets on Monday, Coach Anello and Coach Montgomery, they're going to need things that they can criticize. They can't just compliment them on the good things they do. They've got to say, you know, hey, what kind of special team action do we have here? How are we going to win? I can just hear them.
Here's Kobalarczyk, the sophomore, making his first appearance offensively in the game for the Bombers. Wishbone look for Boonton. And as you might expect with a new quarterback, a little problem with the cadence. Movement on the offensive line for Boonton.
That was a wide out. He wanted to get a quick start. May have been a passing play. He wanted to get downfield.
Illegal procedure will mark it back 5 yards. 1st and 15. And a difficult task has been made even more difficult for John Rotella, as his senior quarterback and safety out with a knee injury of some sort. He's on the bench. Looks like he's got the shoulder pads off, his leg propped up, and his right knee bandaged up. So we've seen the last this afternoon for Eric Bizak.
Straight wishbone and a sweep.
Garrow, as the play is strung out well by the Knights, is hit for a loss on the play. It'll be 2nd down at about 17.
In spite of the fact that that West Essex team is a big team, they swarm very well. They get to the football very well. Their angle of pursuit is good.
That's Peter Visco there, number 81. Visco, a fine baseball player, wonderful pitcher for the Knights. Also a fine student, 3.5 grade point average. Not the highest on this team, by the way. Eric Metallo, a 4.0 GPA and over 1,300 on the boards.
Now, this quarterback, he knows the wishbone. He may not know too many more offensive set, but he knows the wishbone. He probably didn't get too many reps in practice.
The lefty goes to the air for Melgard, incomplete. Elhai on the coverage along with Decker. Melgard, the leading receiver last year for Boonton, has been bottled up because the defenses are wary of his abilities. First pass they've attempted to Melgard. Clock stops 5:47 showing in the 3rd quarter. 3rd and long. Hand off to Jason Hawks, the fullback, and he is brought down by a host of tacklers. Brendan Johnston and Matt Benaquista leading the charge. 4th down and long. And Robert Stager will have to punt once again.
Eric Lemon on that play also. There's no way you're going to be able to run up the middle against that inside West Essex defense. Just too physically strong, too well coached. They've seen that fullback on the first move of the option play too many times in practice.
A little delay as they bring in a clean football from the sideline. A muddy day here at Travis Field. Heavy rains yesterday.
Look at Dave Montgomery. He's still coaching on the sideline. He's 4 touchdowns up, and he's working hard. He's telling kids what to do.
Boonton tries for a fake of some sort that doesn't fool anybody. And the ball will be taken over by the Knights on downs. and they will have the ball at the 36-yard line. So excellent field position for West Essex.
And now they're in 4-down territory now, and it's going to be tough unless they make a bad error to keep this team from gaining at least 3 1/3 yards a carry.
Ronanello has kept the ball on the ground all afternoon. No reason to believe that with a big lead he won't do so in this situation. As Griffoul, the fullback, has the ball into the secondary, runs over Kovalarczyk, and is brought down at the 20-yard line. Kovalarczyk, the sophomore, 5'8", 160 pounds, tried to slow down the tank, but was unable to do so. And Griffoul now has his best day of the season. Again, 2 weeks ago against Hanover Park, he rushed for 148 yards, now with 169 yards and a touchdown.
I saw him in practice on Wednesday, and, you know, he was looking to run into people. It didn't matter that the people were, you know, they had the same uniform on that he had on. He just wanted to run into people. He didn't try to avoid anyone, and he hasn't tried to avoid anyone today.
Jaime Elhai spinning forward for 9. 2nd down and 1. Ronanello now starting to bring in some clean jerseys. That means he's gone to the second unit to some extent. Elhai, 104 yards and 2 touchdowns this afternoon. Phil Armino in the backfield, and Armino has the call. Armino has the first down inside the 10-yard line. Armino,
or close
4
to
touchdowns on the season, and is credited with the first down. He's a 5'7", 150-pound senior. That was his 20th carry of the year. Jason Braden now brings the play in from the sideline. Braden wearing number 90, a 6'2", 200-pound senior. .305 left in the 3rd quarter. West Essex leading comfortably. 1st and goal from inside the 10. Griffoul fighting for yards down to the 7.
They know he's going to have the ball most of the time, and they're still having problems stopping him.
The size and strength of the West Essex line has been a factor all afternoon.
They're big, they're strong, and they're well coached, and that's a tough combination to be.
Looking to make it 4 in a row, well on their way to doing so, paced by Griffoul's 173 yards on the ground. And a chance to end the season at 6-3 as Elhai is in for the score, his 3rd of the year. 3rd of the afternoon, rather. Certainly not the 3rd of the year for Elhai, his 9th of the year.
You know, Elhai is a little different kind of runner than Griffoul is, you know. He runs away from people. He'll step into a tackler and then step away from a tackler. He's got quick feet. And as I indicated before, he's a smart runner. He sees the whole field. He sees his blockers. He lets his blockers help him, reads his blocks well, and he's got adequate speed. He's got good speed.
And has 112 yards this afternoon. Decker on for the extra point.
Mike Geronimo can also carry the ball well. He has also got good speed, breaks tackles. He's 160 pounds. He is also a threat when he carries the ball.
Little problem with the snap. Visco did a good job of getting it down, but a muddy ball makes it tough. Decker's kick into the line. So the score holds 34-0 in favor of the homestanding Knights. Just to go back a little bit, setting up the rest of the season for West Essex. I said looking to make it 4 in a row, looking for their 3rd straight win. They would go to 4-3 on the year with games up ahead against Parsippany Hills on the road next Saturday, and then home here on Thanksgiving against Parsippany. Parsippany, an improved team over previous editions, but still West Essex would have to be considered the favorite going into those 2 games, so a chance for Ronanello's team to go 6-3. Last year finished 7-2. And Ron in his 7th year has got this program going in the right direction.
Yes, he has.
1-8 his first year, 3-6 the second year, but after that above 500.
And now when he loses 3 games, people want to know why. You know, I've been in that situation.
Two tight contests, 6-3 loss to West Morris on a Friday evening, a game they could have won, knocking on the door on a number of occasions, but falling 6-3. And then the week before, they lost to Dover 21-20. So a little bit of a coulda, shoulda year, but looking to end it on a bright note. Well on their way to their third straight win today. Hawks takes the ball at the 14-yard line. And Hawks is brought down by Marlon Dungo at the 37-yard line.
He followed the wedge right into where contact was made, and then he bounced outside, which was a smart move.
The Knights' 5th touchdown of the afternoon, 5 plays, 36 yards. Elhai with the touchdown run.
Well,
34-0 our score.
That Boonton team, as I indicated, they're a team of character. They're going to give it what they have. They're not too big. They're not too strong. They're young. They're going to get better. They've got a coach that believes in them. They've just got to have patience.
Kobalarczyk with the late pitch to Garrow. Garrow brought down after a short pickup on the play. A couple of fresh jerseys in there defensively for West Essex. We'll identify them as we go along. That tackle made by one of the clean jerseys. Won't be clean for long under these muddy conditions. Jason Malone, a 5'10", 150-pound senior.
And his second club is not a bad team. You know, they take their reps in practice. They get their experience. They're not far from being a starter.
Kobalarczyk looking to throw, throws it behind the intended receiver, Jack Shafford, and it's incomplete. Third down, forthcoming.
That quarterback is a sophomore, did you say?
Yes, he is.
Well, he's going to come. You know, he's making sophomore mistakes. He's staring at his receiver. There's no question where he's going to throw. It'd be very unusual if he wasn't a little nervous.
John Kobalarczyk on in place of the injured Eric Bizak. Bizak hurt two offensive series ago, hurt his knee on a far side tackle, and a flag thrown on the play as Andy Morris was about 4 yards ahead of the snap. A couple of players that you won't see today for West Essex, Robert Rickefort and Scott Miller, both out with season-ending injuries that they suffered in the Morristown scrimmage.
Is that right?
It's bad enough when you suffer injuries during the course of a game, but when you lose them in a scrimmage, Rickefort to a knee injury and Miller a hip injury.
Well, the fact that they're out here today, you know.
Yeah, they're on the sideline.
Right. Speaks well for the team concept that Ron has evidently installed in these fellows.
Penalty was declined as there was a short gain on the play, so it's a punting situation. Stager will punt.
Looks like they're rushing a whole lot of people. I don't know how many are going to be coming, though.
Jason Malone, the lone man, deep.
Looks like 8, no, only 6 are coming.
Stager handles the short hopped snap, and Malone now has the ball bounce off of him. It was pushed into him by a Boonton bomber. Bombers do recover, but it will be West Essex ball.
I'm not sure that ball did hit him. I'm not sure it did.
So, Knights have the ball. Time running out here in the third quarter. Knights comfortably on top by a score of 34-0, and that will do it. For the third quarter here at Travis Field, we're going to take a short break. We'll come back with the fourth and final quarter right after this.
Joey, leave your sister alone and finish your breakfast. Oh, Mom. I said finish your breakfast now.
Uh-oh.
Will you watch what you're doing? Oh, look at this mess.
I didn't do it on purpose.
Don't touch it. Oh, now I'm really late. Will you listen to me?
Mommy!
Before you hurt the ones you love, stop. Call 1-800.
the kids.
Hello, may I help you?
Matt Loughlin and Bill Horry back at Travis Field. Fourth quarter about to begin. The Knights comfortably on top by a score of 34-0. Brian Griffoul, the leading rusher for Ron Anello. Jaime Elhai with 3 TDs, those two pacing the attack. New quarterback in the game for West Essex, Justin Kleinman, a sophomore, coming in. As Nicky Luciano has seen the last of action today. And a fresh jersey in the backfield, Mario D'Angelo carrying the ball. D'Angelo, a sophomore.
Now, one of the things you can't do, I know Ron, and Ron in no way wants to hurt that Boonton team. You know, he doesn't want to run up any points, I'm sure. He'd like to see the clock run a little faster. The point of the matter is you just don't tell kids not to block, you know. You tell them not to run. You can't do that. You
West
work all
Essex.
week long. You're teaching them to block and to tackle, and you can't say slow up. For one thing, if you do, you're liable to get hurt.
305 yards on the ground for the Knights today, as the center of that Boonton defense drives D'Angelo back. Loss on the play.
You see, you take out all the seniors and sophomores against sophomores, and the fact that the West Essex sophomores don't have any experience, make it an even game.
That young man there, number 63, Dave Rittenauer, one of the last in a long line of Rittenauers who have played for Boonton. We'll tell you that story in just a moment. Third down play, little trouble with the exchange, and let's see who has fallen on it. Looks like it has been recovered. The fumble has been recovered by Rittenauer, and it's a first down for the Bombers. There is an ad taken out in the Boonton program, and little brother Dave is congratulated by members of his families. We'll take a look at him recovering this fumble. Brother Bob, Larry, Jim, Joe, John, Michael, and Frank all graduating from Boonton High School. Larry married a Boonton High School graduate. John married a Boonton High School graduate. And Rittenauer's mom is a Boonton High School graduate.
So you think that the Rittenauers are Boonton fans?
They got some Bomber blood running through them, Bill.
Well, I kind of hope that they have a little more success than they've had. They're good people. Talking about good people, these West Essex people are wonderful hosts, aren't they?
Without question.
Yep.
We always enjoy our visit here to Travis Field.
I do.
For
I look
football
forward to it.
Or any other sport that we travel up to North Caldwell to cover. We were up here earlier this year for a girls' tennis match. Second down play, Kovalarczyk goes to Jason Hawks. Hawks gains a couple.
He's trying. He hit up in there hard as he can, ran into a stone wall and spun and fought for the extra yard in spite of the fact that it's long yardage. 3rd and 9.
It does not get easier for this Boonton team. Next week is homecoming. Friday evening they will host Mendham. Mendham undefeated as we bring you this game. And just a powerful club in the Hills division of the Iron Hills Conference. And then after that, on a Friday evening, there will be no Thanksgiving Day football for John Rotella and his club. They will host Dover. So the season ends on a very difficult note. If you look at their schedule, their chances were in the Hanover Park game, a team that is struggling this year, and they lose 21-17. That followed the season opener against West Morris, and the team, recovering obviously from the West Morris defeat, just coming up short against Hanover Park. And then a chance 2 games ago against Morris Hills. Again, they lost 27-21. And if you're looking to build a program, they were 0-9 last year. 3-6 looks pretty good, and they perhaps could have been 3-6, but they lose those 2 games, and they're going to struggle in the next 2, and it could be 1-8. And that's a big difference. There's a big difference defensively made by Chris Cardella.
Well, you got a lot of fresh uniforms in the on the West Essex team, but those fresh uniforms are also fresh people. They're fresh bodies. They're younger. They don't have the experience, but they certainly have the enthusiasm. It's not easy. You're on a Boonton team and you come to school on Monday, and everybody kind of looks at you and says, well, you lost again, huh? Not a good feeling. Takes a little special kind of courage, character to play on a team that's losing. It's an excellent test, and I think it's good for every young man to know what it feels like. It's not much fun, but it's certainly a test of your character, and it takes a special kind of kid to come to practice every day. Be on time, do what the coaches says, obey the training rules, and know that come Saturday they're going to once again be the underdog.
Darren DeFazio has come into the backfield, replacing Phil Armino. A flag thrown on the play.
And the coach, he knocks his brains out every day. He looks for things to do and formations, and X's and zeros that are going to help his team. He looks to his players for support. He gives them everything he has, and he certainly is entitled to loyalty by those kids. And I hope he's getting it, because he's for them 100%. He likes those kids. He told me he did. I'm sure he never spoke to them in those kind of terms, but he loves his players.
Penalty marked off against West Essex, 2nd down and long. There are just 7 seniors on this Boonton team, so trying to establish some things, a program that over the years has not had a tremendous amount of success. John Rattel is trying to instill some winning football in a program that has sorely lacked it over the years. Phil Armino breaks across the 25-yard line up to the 28. Little arm tackling going on, a little ball hawking on the part of the Bombers. Trailing in this ball game by a score of 34-0. Clock shows 6:50 and counting left to play in this 4th quarter. Big afternoon by Brian Griffoul. Up over 170 yards. Jaime Elhai over 100 yards and 3 touchdowns for the Knights.
Yeah, we have downplayed the West Essex effort. They're a good football team. They're a good, solid, well-coached football team. They run that wing tee the way it's supposed to be run. They block well, they tackle well.
Yeah, the only
right place.
The only game that really there was a big problem score-wise was the Mendham game when they lost 28-7.
And I understand that game was not out of the wood until the second half. It was a pretty close game that first half.
But Mendham comes away with the win. There's Eric Bizek, obviously distraught, disappointed. Hurt his knee on the far sideline, brought down on a play, immediately grabbed for that right knee, and we hope it's not serious. It has caused him to miss the rest of this game. A cautionary move, and obviously the leg elevated and taped up and iced up. We hope that he's able to come back and conclude his football career at Boonton. Decker.
He's a player. He's a competitor. And you like for only good things to happen to those kind of people. He's a gentleman.
Ball down by Eric Metallo at the 34-yard line. That's where Boonton will have the ball with 5:53 to play. As it begins to get a little dark here, Metallo, the player earlier that I spoke of, 4.0 grade point average, 1,300 plus on the SATs.
Well, that's fine. He certainly...
I don't think I could have gotten 1,300 if I took it Added the scores together.
He certainly doesn't fit the mold of the big, dumb football player. First of all, he's small. He's 5'6", he's 145 pounds. But he certainly has got a lot of courage, and he's got a lot of smarts.
Yes, now you do. Yes, okay. Outside shade, Frankie.
John Kobalarczyk, the replacement for Bizak. And a whistle blown as Kobalarczyk, I think the officials didn't realize he still had the ball, did a great job of faking, and the officials blew the whistle. And they will huddle, and I think what Bucky Rittenauer is going to want to find out is, is they going to take an official timeout?
It's my time, and they have to stop the play where the whistle blew, unfortunately.
The ball now is marked across the 40-yard line. I mean, I clearly heard a whistle.
Yeah. They're going to have to stop the play where the first whistle blew. Here's where they blew the whistle, but the ball wasn't dead. Seems like they had 4 people on the fullback when he hit up inside, and they had 4 more people on quarterback when he took the ball out and ran downfield. He must have 22 or 23 kids on that defensive team.
They are going to give Kobalarczyk his gain, 2nd down and short. Ball has popped free, and the Knights have recovered.
At time, you see, you try everything when you're down like this. They had 4 wide receivers and a single back, and they gave it to the single back, hoping that he could pop one up the middle, but unfortunately they had problems with the exchange.
Frank Adesso recovering the fumble. By the way, you saw Bucky Rittenauer signal where he extended his arm with an enclosed fist pointing out away from his body. It's an inadvertent whistle, which is why the gain was given to Kobalarczyk. They realized they had made a mistake, and the crew allowing the gain to stand. We have yet another quarterback, Chris Metallo, brother of Eric Metallo, and I think it was Chris's stats that you might have been given size-wise before.
Is that right?
5'7", 130-pounder. His brother a little bigger at 5'11", 170 pounds. Metallo, a sophomore. I'm sure he did not expect to see action today. Runs over to get the play from Ron Anello, but it can only make him better.
It'll help him next year and the year after. A lot of clean uniforms in that West Essex team.
Way down on the
There's
depth
a ball
chart,
on the
the Knights have gone. Ball is free, but Metallo falls on it.
Ron Anello's a gentleman. He would never purposely hurt kids, whether it was his kids or the other team's kids, you know. You just don't do it. Kids are kids.
Ron, a solid football man, learned an awful lot from Butch Fortunato, for whom he played at Montclair High School. And as an example of one of the traits that he took from Coach Fortunato, next year West Morris moves up to the larger schools division in the Iron Hills Conference. And that leaves the Hills division with just 9 members. So everyone's looking for a football game. Well, the conference has long had a relationship with the large schools. At any rate, the large school division has had a relationship with the NNJIL. And that relationship now moves down to the smaller schools. Who does West Essex take? But St. Joseph's, one of the more difficult schools in the NNJIL. And Ron said, hey, when I was playing at Montclair, we looked for the best.
Right, you don't dodge teams because they're big.
And so they went out and they didn't look for the weak sister in the NNJIL. They went out after one of the strong teams. And again, that was something that Butch Fortunato and before him Clary Anderson employed at Montclair. This is Gabe Ballard dancing his way down the sideline. Ballard finally driven out of bounds. Ballard, a 6', 170-pound junior, picking up nice yardage here as he picks up a first down for the Knights. Ball marked at the 22-yard line.
You got to know that Boonton D is kind of beat up by this time, and if they weren't disheartened a little bit, why they wouldn't be human. They know the game's out of the wood. Now they're kind of playing for their own honor.
Chris Metallo, the signal caller. Mario D'Angelo on the carry. D'Angelo Big kid for a sophomore, 6 foot, 170 pounder.
Yep. He'll be a 210 6-3er, maybe.
Second down for the night. Time running out here at Travis Field. 2.5 minutes to go in this contest. West Essex will move to 4-3 on the year. D'Angelo tripped up as he gets inside the 10-yard line. Number 40, Mario D'Angelo.
Like I say, if you're West Essex coach, you can't tell your kids not to run hard and not to block hard. You've been teaching them to block hard and run hard all week long. You can't say, now slow it up, fellas. We don't want to pile it on. You gotta,
especially these clean jerseys. They want to prove something. It's first and goal from the 9.
Their chance at fame right now. A lot of clean jerseys on that Boonton defense, too.
Yeah. John Rotella has played everybody that he has brought. Again, a small roster on the part of the Bombers as we look at Ballard carrying the ball for a couple of hard yards before he's tripped up. Time running out here at Travis Field. We invite you to stay with us for the post-game show. Ron Anello will join us along with Jaime Elhai, who scored 3 touchdowns today, and a couple of those guys from the offensive line as D'Angelo is in for the score. Mario D'Angelo scoring to extend the lead to 40-0.
Well, he works hard. He blocks hard. He wanted a shot at that goal line, too. He's a hard runner.
D'Angelo's score coming with 1:28 showing on the clock.
He rips through a couple of pairs of arms, doesn't he?
He sure does. The sophomore, 6 foot, 170 pounder.
He runs hard.
Decker on for the extra point try. Mickey Luciano on to hold. Peter Visco normally the holder, but Luciano in there to hold on this extra point try. And the kick is up and good, and the lead is extended to 41-0.
You know, it's interesting, the fact that West Essex on the very first play of the game put the ball up in the air. Have they thrown a pass since?
I don't recall one.
They need work on their passing game, man. They need a lot of work on that passing game.
Word comes from our statistician, Bill Bromberg, that they have run 39 straight running plays following that opening pass. It was also 3 plays and out on the first series for West Essex. They weren't stopped much after that.
They tried that pass, it wasn't successful, and they gave up on the passing game. Would you believe that? If you do, I've got a bridge in New York that's up for sale.
You and Rudy Giuliani, he might need to sell a couple of those things to fill in the city coffers. Decker will kick off. Hawks back to receive it.
Boonton, better days are coming. Not right now.
And unfortunately, with Mendham and Dover ahead, maybe not until 94, but John Rotella continues his rebuilding effort at the Bombers as Russ Garrow is dragged down by the face mask. Brought down at the 29-yard line, but there will be yardage tacked on to that return as he was clearly dragged down.
That's a 15-yarder, too.
Face mask call against the Knights.
Here's something that coach can get on him for, face mask tackling. I'm trying to help him out. He needs some reason to get on their backs on
He's going to have to try to bring them down a little bit as they get ready for Parsippany Hills.
Fact of the matter is, they've played well.
Yes, they have.
Fact of the matter is, they're a good football team. Unfortunately, there isn't any provision in the state playoffs for the entrance of a wild card. Maybe someday there might be. Their chances of playing in the state championships are very, very small. But they're a good football team.
Pitch to Garrow. Garrow up near midfield, stopped short of midfield, with 50 seconds showing on the clock. Garrow will be back next year. He's a junior. Those interior linemen we told you were going to be a part of our postgame. Fred Barbarossa, Matt Benaquista, they're also captains. 4 year-long captains for this West Essex team. Elhai and Visco joining them. Today, Mike Jarmoli was named a game captain. This should be the last play of the ball game. A little bit of a razzle-dazzle as Rashawn Hayes takes it, but runs right into the arms of Gabe Ballard. No gain on the play, and that should do it for this ball game.
Gabe played it well. He stayed home.
And that does it. The Knights improving to 4-3 on the season, their 3rd straight victory, as they win by a score of 41-0. Boonton falls to 1-6 on the season. We're going to take a short break. We'll come back to wrap things up right after this.
Joey, leave your sister alone and finish your breakfast.
Oh, Mom.
I said finish your breakfast now.
Uh-oh.
Will you watch what you're doing? Oh, look at this mess.
I didn't do it on purpose.
Don't touch it. Oh, now I'm really late. Will you listen to me?
Mommy!
Before you hurt the ones you love, stop. Call 1-800. The kids.
Hello, may I help you?
Third straight win for the West Essex Knights, now 4-3 on 1993 as they win handily over the Boonton Bombers by a score of 41-0. It was a game after one quarter, 7-0 in favor of West Essex, but they scored 3 second-quarter touchdowns. 2 of them by this gentleman who wound up with 3 on the day, Jaime Elhai. Jaime, congratulations on the team's performance.
Thanks.
It was a little bit of a battle. They were able to move the ball on occasion in that first half, but the second quarter particularly was a big one for the Knights. Tell us about it.
Well, we just came out pumped up. The line just surged on the line of scrimmage, and the Matty, Fred, and the rest of the linemen opened up the holes for me, Tank, and Mike DiGirolamo, and we got in the end zone.
A big day, particularly for the man you affectionately call the Tank, Brian Griffoul.
Yeah.
What's it like seeing this Norm Bulash, as Coach Anello calls him, look-alike running?
It's great. It's a great sight. I mean, since he's so low to the ground, I mean, his center of gravity, I mean, is unbelievable. People just jump on his back and he carries them for 10 yards.
I know the club a little disappointed that there are 3 losses on the slate, but 2 games up ahead in which to try to finish 6-3.
Yeah, that's our goal right now. You know, we started off slow, but now our main focus is to finish 6-3 and nothing less. We 5-4, and anything under that is ugly. So we want to finish 6-3.
Jaime, congratulations on your performance.
Right,
112 yards and 3 touchdowns today. He has 9 on the year. Now Fred Barbarossa will step in, the man they affectionately call the cheese around here. Last week's special teams player of the week. What do you like so much about running downfield and getting into that wedge?
Oh, I like it. Just pick out. They got the back wall back there, 4 or 5 guys. Just get up in the air and run right through them.
Well, we focused on you on one of those kickoffs, and it's something special, a special trait that you have to do that. But we want to talk about your offensive line play, a big offensive line, some experience there. Today against an undermanned Boonton team, a little bit of an easy job, but all season long it's been an offensive line that has done well.
Right. You know, we come out there. We got a lot of big guys. We got some young guys, and, you know, the seniors helping them out. And, you know, we just get the job done. We've been doing it the whole season, and we're going to keep doing it.
Particularly the last 3 games. What's been the difference in the last 3?
The team's staying together. Nobody's pointing fingers. Everybody's just patting each other on the backside. You know, nobody's screaming at each other. We're staying together as a unit, and it's been working for us. We're going to keep doing it for the rest of the season.
Well, Fred, congratulations on your performance. Good luck in the remaining 2 games.
Thank you.
And now one of the other captains. There are 4 actually on the team, spending time with 3 of them. Peter Visco, the other quad captain, and Matt Benaquista joins us. And Matt, you're a man who's moved around a lot this year. Now you're accustomed to your positions, playing guard and nose guard, but the start of the season you were at a couple of different spots.
Well, last year I started off at offensive tackle.
And this year they moved me to offensive guard. Last year I also was at defensive tackle, and they moved me back to nose guard. My sophomore year I started at nose guard. Last year they moved me to defensive tackle. Now I'm back to nose guard again.
I'm not sure if I could follow that roadmap completely, but suffice to say the coach has a lot of confidence in you in order to move you around.
Well, I learned a lot from my brother, I must say. He taught me a lot of things, work with him, and also all the coaches that helped me out a lot. And I just like to get out there, go crazy, make a few tackles, make a few hard hits, try to get the job done.
What is special about the offensive line?
Well, like Freddie said, we all stick together as a unit. We're all known as the Fat Boys. We all like to stick together, we like to run people over, just create a new line of scrimmage, just drive and drive. Get the backs as many yards as possible. We like to get like at least 300 yards a game. You know?
Well, and you exceeded 300 yards today, but you also, as you mentioned, the backs, you've got guys who can take advantage of your blocks.
Hey, we're going to open the holes for them, and we know once they hit the holes, they're going to run. Hey, just get the job done. That's it.
Well, the job was done this afternoon. Congratulations on your performance. Good luck in the remaining 2 games, Matt Benaquista. And now, the man who benefits from the play of guys like the 3 we talked and the rest of the team, Ron Anello. And Ron, congratulations on the performance. The role continues for this night team.
Yeah, they're playing well. I mean, we're together as a unit, and the kids come out and they're playing. I mean, that's all we ever ask from them is to go out and play hard and have a lot of fun, and that's what they're doing.
And they're on a bit of a roll, and up ahead you go on the road this week and then come back home for Thanksgiving, an opportunity to end it at 6-3.
Right. Well, we just want to be 5-3 right now, Matt. We have a very simple goal here: just go out one game at a time and get it done.
You were able today to get a lot of toward the end fresh jerseys in there. You went deep, and nice to see someone score like Mario D'Angelo, a sophomore, big size, getting on the board.
Well, you always want to try to give everyone an opportunity to play. Those kids come to practice every day. They deserve a shot in a game, and it builds experience. I mean, those kids, they're not. When it comes to next year, when it's their turn to step it up, they've had some experience out there on a varsity field, so it's good.
All right, your team now moves on with a victory. What has happened the last 3 games? Players have talked a little bit about staying together and what happens. Anything physical that has changed?
Not really. I think, early on we were a young team. We had a little inexperience at key positions, and there was a little frustration. We had high expectations, and, we lost, 3 ball games we lost were very tough, hard-fought battles, and, it got a little frustrating there. And we're dealing with high school kids here. We're not dealing with NFL players, and they've made a commitment to one another, to support one another, and go out and let's just play the way we're capable of playing. And that's what they've done, and I've been very happy about that.
Well, now 3 in a row. Congratulations on the win today. Best luck the remaining 2 games. Ron Anello, now in his 7th year at the helm of this West Essex Knights team, and his club with hopes of 2 more victories will be again above the 500 record. And Bill, we mentioned that the first 2 years were sub 500, but ever since then they've been above 500. A good coach, good program.
Yeah, he runs a good sound football program, and that's a good sound football team. You've heard, I'm sure, many times it's said that in order to win football games, you got to block and you got to tackle, and that's what they do well. They block well, they tackle well. They're a basic team. They just knock people down. They're a good football team. We've said it a few times.
And they come away with a victory this afternoon over the Boonton Bombers. The final score once again from Travis Field: the West Essex Knights 41, the Bombers nothing. For Bill Horry, I'm Matt Loughlin. Thanks for joining us, and have a good day. All right, Paul, we're going to take a look at Iron Hill's conference action, and it's a game that TV3 covered, and you'll be able to see later on this weekend on TV3. It matches the Boonton Bombers against the West Essex Knights. We're going to take a look at action from Travis Field in North Caldwell on a wet field, and following the rains, figured that the offense would have the advantage knowing where they were going, as the tank, Brian Griffoul, knew where he was going. 29 yards into the end zone. Griffoul ended with 173 yards on the afternoon. That made the score 7-0. In the second quarter, Jaime Elhai adds to his team-leading touchdown total. This is 7th of the year, 49 yards out for the score. Elhai finished with 112 yards on the afternoon.
on its next series. The Knights call on the tank once again, and he rumbles all the way, right? Wrong. Eric Bizak drags him down from behind, 75 yards on the play for the junior fullback, as he had a brilliant afternoon on the wet turf. Disappointed that he didn't get into the end zone, but no matter, the Knights would score. Just 2 plays later, following a penalty, quarterback Nicky Luciano goes in from the 6. It's 21-0. West Essex would make it 4 straight possessions on which it would score in the first half, and the Knights would go to a familiar name, Jaime Elhai. This time, Elhai would get a block from Griffoul, cut inside, a potential tackler sneak into the end zone from 24 yards out. It's 28-0. At this point, Elhai would add a third-quarter touchdown of 8 yards. Mario D'Angelo, a sophomore coming in late in the game, scores from 7 yards out in the fourth quarter. West Essex with the victory by a score of 41-0. The Knights win their 3rd consecutive game. They chalk up 362 yards on the ground. No yards passing. They attempted 1 pass. That was the first play of the game. They decided to keep it on the ground. After that, Boonton had 153 yards of total offense. Their quarterback, Eric Bizak, responsible for 125 of those. However, he was injured in the 3rd quarter with a knee injury, and that settled any Boonton hopes. Once again, the final score, 41-0. Elsewhere,